Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Bringing you another edition alongside me, Erik Ellis, joining me today on the show. We've been on for almost 3 hours now, talking about a lot of sports topics. We're having a lot of fun. Chime in on Facebook and YouTube. Of course, I've had some people comment on my YouTube stuff. It's been very interesting going back and forth with some people. Some people I like going back and forth with. Other people I do not. So, but it can be tough. But I shouldn't say I don't, because any discussion is good discussion, right? So
debate's debate.
Debate is debate. That's right. So UFC 210 takes place April 8th at the KeyBank Center, live in Buffalo, New York. 22 years in the making, so to speak. The New York State Athletic Commission signed an agreement to basically bring back the UFC, sanction the sport of MMA in the state of New York. And we've seen MMA take over. We've seen it take over New York, hitting each and every major city. Obviously, UFC 205 in New York City, UFC in Brooklyn, UFC 208. Now, UFC 210, also they had that UFC Fight Night card in Albany with Derek Lewis, fought on that card in the main event, getting a win there. And, now they'll be back in Buffalo. I feel like I'm forgetting a place. Am I forgetting a place?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm not. But, yeah, pay-per-view-wise, they've had, 3 events here. Buffalo will be the 3rd event on pay-per-view, in UFC Zuffa history. And I'm excited, dude. Like I can't
wait.
I can't contain my excitement.
We're both going, so it's gonna be exciting.
It'll be good. I've wanted this for so long. Like I honestly, there are moments where I really didn't think this was going to happen. Like I didn't think that New York State would legalize it. I thought that it was just a dead in the water issue that would never die, or that would never come alive, so to speak, of the UFC being brought here. And it is.
And here we are, a pay-per-view event.
So, Erik, run down the card for me. Start by the main card. Who's the first fight on the main card?
First fight on the main card, we got a lightweight bout between Will Brooks and Charles Oliveira. On the next fight, we got welterweight Thiago Alves, thank you, versus Patrick Cote. Yep. Women's strawweight bout between Cynthia Calvillo versus Pearl Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. Then we got the 2 main events. Middleweight Chris Weidman versus Gerard Mousasi.
Gegard.
Yeah.
Gegard, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
and then finally, light heavyweight bout for the light heavyweight championship between Daniel Cormier and Anthony Rumble Johnson.
I mean, that's a damn good card. I like that card a lot. I am very excited for, obviously, the main event and the co-main event. But being a longtime fan, I date back to 2004, 2003. The one fight I'm very excited on, the one fight I'm really excited about on that card is Patrick Cote versus Thiago Alves. Why? Because of the fact that Patrick Cote fought Anderson Silva in a title fight once upon a time, and Thiago Alves fought at UFC 100 versus George St. Pierre. Is that fight a welterweight fight?
It is.
It is. Okay. So, yeah, that'll be a good one. 2 durable game guys that have been in the UFC for quite some time, have fought the best of the best, have fought big names in that division. So, very excited to watch that one. Obviously, you got Chris Weidman, who's probably the nicest guy in the UFC, I would say. One of the nicest fighters that's in the UFC today. He did a lot for, bringing MMA to New York, and it's awesome that he's been on not 1 now, but 2. It'll be his 2nd card in New York.
MSG was the first.
Yeah, so we're gonna run down, the predictions. Cynthia Calvillo, she is from San Diego. I talked to a guy on my Facebook group, one of the Facebook groups that I'm in. He actually works with her husband.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool. Actually talking to him, after her big win at UFC 209, she's stepping right back in there, UFC 210 versus Pearl Gonzalez. So that'll be an interesting fight. But let's give our predictions. Eric, what fight, I just ran through what fight I'm most excited for. What fight are you most excited for? If it's the main event, give us your reaction.
It is the main event. It really is, because the light heavyweight division, as we know, it's been weird, because Jon Jones, as we all know, is probably one of the most dominant fighters of all time. He really is. And
he's undefeated.
Undefeated. Drug issues aside, he's great. He has a lot of just prestige to him. He's a great fighter overall. It stinks that he chose to go down the path that he has.
Yeah.
And he will actually be in Buffalo still for an autograph signing. But
716.
Exactly. And the thing is, now we're looking at DC versus Anthony Johnson, which is a fight that's already happened. This was already a fight that had happened for the interim belt. And Cormier had won that fight, the first round. And he's defended it, I believe, 3 times since?
He's defended it... no. He's defended it once.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he's only defended it once. He won it off of Johnson. And then he defended it against Gustafson. And then he was supposed to fight Jones, got hurt, and then he was supposed to fight Jones again, and Jones tested positive. And then he fought Anderson Silva.
Once,
He's had a rough go. You continue.
I agree. It's just it's interesting to see, and a lot of people will argue that he's not the true champion if he has never beat Jon Jones, and he's never beat him.
Yeah.
And it's a fair point to make, but Jon Jones, from what we're hearing as well, might be moving up to heavyweight.
Oh, eventually he is. Yeah, that's gonna happen. That's been talked about. He's hinted at that for a while. I don't think he's gonna move up to heavyweight yet, though. I think maybe like 3-4 years down the road he will. But once he's ready to come back, eligible to come back, he's fighting Daniel Cormier again. Like, if Daniel Cormier wins this fight, if Daniel Cormier wins this fight, or if Anthony Rumble Johnson wins this fight, both just as likely scenarios as the next, then the most likely scenario after that is Jones fighting for the belt.
I would like either fight, honestly. DC and Jon Jones again, or a new fight, Jon Jones, Anthony Johnson. It'd be exciting to see.
Which that was supposed to be the original fight, which let Cormier get that opportunity. DC lost to Jon Jones. Then Jones was supposed to fight Rumble. Rumble took the fight on short notice versus DC like a champ would, and Jon Jones fell out. He hit that lady at the red light, got knocked out of that fight, and then the rest is history. Cormier beat Johnson. Submitted him, defended the belt against Gustafson, who was always game. I mean, that was an impressive performance.
It was.
And, then he fights Anderson Silva on short notice. I mean, it's really Jon Jones. If Jon Jones didn't do the stuff he did, DC and Rumble probably would have never fought. Like, there's a real case that could have been made. Like, if he would have just bounced DC out, if DC loses another fight to Jones, his career is virtually over at that point.
We could be seeing Jon Jones fight on the 8th at this rate. I mean, if that was the case.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think we would have, due to the fact that he's a Rochester native and, he wanted to fight here. Like, he made that public like Chris Weidman did. So, and Chris Weidman's not even from here. He's from the Long Island side. So it was, it's interesting to see what will come of this. If you were to give your prediction on the fight, who do you see winning the main event and the co-main event?
I see Rumble winning the main event at this point. I think I do see Rumble getting 1 or 2 good hits, and I don't know how it's possible, but he looks even more vicious than he did when he fought Cormier the first time.
It's interesting.
He's the kind of guy I would not want to meet in a dark alley. He is the kind of guy.
He's the most fearsome striker, feared striker in the sport. I'd say. Like he's definitely he hits harder than just about anybody. What were you saying though? You thought that continue with your prediction.
DC, he's getting a little older, obviously, and I feel if he loses this fight, this is the best chance for him to transition just to being the analyst on Fox Sports 1 and the commentator eventually for both. Yeah, and I think DC again, he's getting up there in age, and Anthony Johnson, if he can hold out, if he doesn't allow DC to get on top of him, I think it's Rumble's game. I really do.
I disagree. Respectfully, I disagree. I think that I do think that I think that all the things you said are. I mean, it could have. Like I said, this is a 50-50 pick'em fight. Like there's no guarantee. But I think that over the course of Anthony Johnson's career, he has been prone to not be able to swim in deep water. So, like if it goes the second round, third round, fourth round, he doesn't really do that well. And if Daniel Cormier even lands one takedown in the first round, and the fight goes into the second round, or if he lands another takedown in the second round and keeps Johnson there, which he very well could, the longer the fight goes, Johnson will give up.
It's possible,
and that's kind of what we saw in the first fight. Literally, that's what we saw in the first fight. I like Anthony Johnson. I respect him. The fact that he got knocked off by Daniel Cormier, that was a devastating loss. You think about, he was supposed to be fighting John Jones. John Jones falls out. He takes Daniel Cormier on short notice, and he loses via submission.
Yeah.
That was a pretty bad loss. And he got back on the horse and knocked out Bader, Teixeira. I think he knocked out Gustafsson. Yeah, he did. He knocked out Gustafsson, too. Yeah. And Gustafsson even got a title shot off of that. Like, it was just, that was a weird time.
It was a weird situation.
But,
I agree.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I think that if Cormier takes him down even one time, he has a way of just smothering guys that wears them down. Mm-hmm. He grinds into guys, and it's not the most exciting style. I'll be the first to admit it myself, but I do think that he has he's a champion. He's got championship wrestling.
Yeah. He's not. You're completely right. He's not an exciting fighter to watch, and that's kind of another reason why I want Rumble to win. He's awesome. He's great to see.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we always want to see first round finishes, but it's exciting.
Well, it'd be new. It'd be new for the division.
It
would get out of the cloud of Jones and Cormier, which I would like that. But on one hand, I wouldn't, because I want to see Cormier and Jones fight again.
It'd be great to see.
So bad.
I would like either one.
Yeah, and I want to see the hype for that. I wanted to see it at UFC 200, and it didn't happen. They had the main event. They had the bright lights, and John Jones blew it. He blew it again.
UFC 200 was going to be the big fight.
Yeah, as much as like they say, it wasn't a steroid, or it was a tainted supplement. He shouldn't have put himself in that position. And just like the last time, just like the car accident, just like when he crashed his Bentley into a telephone pole after he'd won the belt. I mean, this guy, trouble, unfortunately, seems to find him, and it's sad. It really is,
because of the potential he has. Let's move on to the middleweight bout between Chris Weidman and Gerard Mousasi. Just because,
yes.
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly. My enunciation's not great, but this fight's interesting to me, mainly because of what's transpired between GSP and Michael Bisping. Now, we had assumed that Yoel Romero was going to be the next in line to fight Michael Bisping for the middleweight championship. But now that GSP has been inserted into the position to win the title, we now have Chris Weidman and Mousasi fighting for possibly a bout with Yoel Romero to find out who would fight the winner of that match.
Yeah. Being that we do have a minute left, we're going to put this in the next one. Being that we do have a minute left, what is your who would you pick for this fight?
Right now, probably Weidman. Right now, he's been on a slump, but I will say Weidman. He's a former champion. He knows what it takes to get done. And I think that he's got a good shot.
His back is against the wall. Great guy. Nice guy. One of the most thrilling victories in MMA history was when he knocked out Anderson Silva. But I'm going to go with Gegard Mousasi.
Respectable.
I think that Gegard has everything working for him in his favor. He's on a torrid win streak. He's confident. Everything is great for him right now, whereas everything is kind of at a dark point for Chris Weidman. If Chris Weidman loses this fight, I think he's going to retire. I really do. He's got a family. He's got a nice wife. No need to continue to fight. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. We're going to profile the other fights on the card as well. Stay tuned.